cognac is very expensive to make. And you used to have 20,000 farmers with each their own little plot of land. Like my grandfather, they were called bouilleurs de cru. He was distilling his own crop. You had these few barrels. And you made love to these barrels because they were your savings. They look, somebody like my grandmother who raised me, she knew several currencies in France. There's one currency that didn't change, is aging cognac. When you had cash, you put it into cognac.
You could say the same thing in Scotland, right? You had loads of distilleries. You had most of them farms, most of them producing very little. They put it in barrels because they wanted to be able to store it. Then, of course, they found out that you put it in the barrel, you start to get flavor, and lo and behold, it usually tastes better. The same thing is true of rum. You know, there used to be hundreds of sugar mills all around the Caribbean doing the same thing. They'd put it in barrels as well. It tastes good. Same thing in bourbon whiskey as well. We put it in barrels. Oh, it tastes a little bit better. But what you're describing in France is an obsession with barrels. It's a sort of craftsmanship. It's an artistry around the cask. So where do you think that comes from? Is it just an acute sense of what tastes and smells good, and that has to translate to delicious products?
There's 2 points to your question. The first one is nature. We're in an area where there's, right next to Cognac, a beautiful forest, Limousin. And, you know, if you're in an area where, you know, you go to Scotland, there's not so much forest. If you go to the Caribbean, there's not a lot of old forest. There's none. To make barrels, you need a forest. And back then, transportation was expensive. People were very savvy with the environment. The environment was respected because it was expensive to hurt the environment. The problem is that now it's cheap to hurt the environment. You know, people were used to ship barrels to the Caribbeans undone. So you could ship a lot of barrels in one container. But now it's so cheap to ship barrels. That's my little moment. They just ship full. So you're shipping air mostly. So you need a forest. And second to this, there is definitely a gastronomic approach to cognac from the early days. And you find that in spirits, there's a turn in every spirit where they become gastronomical. And cognac, it's a very early stage.